I've taken more and more time to think about the sort of videos that I want to make and the sort of direction I want to take this channel down. And the number one thing that I want to achieve is a sense of genuineness in my videos. Because, like I mentioned in just my last video, that I feel like YouTube has completely lost that, with nearly every creator and most videos being super high production, super high quality, where it feels like you're just being taken down. There's a story being told and you're being taken along to experience it, and not at all like you're having a conversation with somebody. This came up to mind after I made my last two videos, which were my first uploads after a year of not uploading, and the videos got 70 and 40 views, which I feel like is the perfect middle point of not being so low it's disheartening, and not so high that there would be a feeling of greed and wanting to get more. It was a sweet spot where the 70 view video got over an hour of watch time, and which was more time that I put into making the video. So it was completely worth my time to make that video, and it made me super, super grateful for those people who put in the time to watch it. And it made me think how, if the numbers keep getting bigger, it's not like anyone, including me, would get more and more grateful. You would start to lose touch with the reality of how many people are watching your video. Because people would like to say that they can imagine 1,000 of something or 10,000 of something, which I really doubt. And even if I were disproven, my point still stands, because I guess I should have said, if it's impossible to imagine that number of something, even if it's possible to imagine that much of something, it's very, very difficult. Like, if you were to look out into a field of grass, there's possibly millions of blades of grass out there, but you can't comprehend that. You just look out and see green. You don't take into account all the little blades of grass, which makes me nearly certainly believe that seeing like 1 million people watch your video, you lose touch with reality. It loses the human element of feeling like there are people watching you. It will just feel like statistics at that point to most people, and even to the good people who try to be grateful. I imagine it would get very, very difficult, which would make it easier for that popular creator to sell or market something to their audience. Because I guess in a way it would nearly feel like free money. They're getting all this attention through the videos they make, and it perhaps may not even feel like people are watching anymore. It just feels like the numbers are going up, so I may make the best use of it. And I've thought about this a lot. The fact that you could feel very connected to a creator, someone who makes videos. You may like them as a person, you may like what they have to say, and you may even like them to the point where you talk about them with other people, or even defend them online on comments or forums or whatever. But to them, all you are is just part of a marketing funnel. They're just trying to get you to buy something so they get money. Money to buy things that they don't need, realistically. And of course you can make the point that someone can try to sell something and you can just ignore it. Sure. There could be a lot going on in your life that you can try to ignore, but it's better to stop that happening completely. Imagine, because take this into account, or take this as an example. Imagine the same salesman came to your house every single day, knocked on your door, and tried to sell you something. Sure, you could deal with it, and sure, you can just politely tell him no every single day, but why would you? It will certainly get to a point where you are infuriated to see him show up at your door, because he's trying to sell you something that you do not want nor need. So you could try and cope and defend people who sell things and say that you could just ignore it, but I don't know the exact word, but it's being a parasite, I think. Because there's this man called Edward Bernays, who's the nephew of Sigmund Freud, if I'm not mistaken. And Sigmund Freud was an exceptional psychologist, and he basically understood that people have hidden drives to do things, and Edward Bernays took that knowledge and information and used it to market, I don't know if it's several things, but it definitely at least a few things. And because before Edward Bernays really started to do his work, from what I know, advertisements and so-called marketing in the US was just facts. Like, if you were looking to buy a coat, all the text around the coat would be just only information, only facts about the coat, the material, the length, the thickness, and that it keeps you warm. But after Edward Bernays, stuff started to get a lot more identity driven, to the point now where there are countless designer brands that make you feel fancy or rich or whatever it exactly is, even though they're made of the same cloth that most all clothes are made out of. And this is the problem that I really want to point out. It's that marketing as a whole, identity marketing as a whole, has made people desire and buy things that they do not need. And there are self-improvement YouTubers, and there's self-improvement YouTubers and perhaps YouTubers who say that they want the best for you, but then they're going to push their course or push their products or their merchandise. They're going to push it to you so that you could feel so you could connect with the identity that you're part of their group, or that you stand for what they stand. And I think, boiled down, marketing made consumerism, which is another thing that self-improvement YouTubers are against. Don't consume, create more than you consume. Don't buy unnecessary things, and be smart with your money. But then they try to sell you a course where they learned all the information for it. They learn all the information of the course online for free, and now they're selling to you with a huge price tag. I'm certain that if you genuinely want the best for people, you will not charge them. You will firstly not, if you want the best for people, you will firstly not try to sell them things that they do not need. But secondly, you will certainly not if there's things that they perhaps may help, or maybe they do need, the price shouldn't be extraordinary if it doesn't have to be. The only exception that I would make, and it's not, I have thought about this and I really believe this isn't cope. I think something like coaching for a self-improvement YouTuber would be fine. If somebody needs help that is so specific that they can't find the answers online, having the outlet, having the opportunity to get their questions answered and problems helped, even for a price tag, would be worth it if they genuinely cannot find the answer. And like I said, this isn't cope, and I say that because I still offer coaching for that exact reason. I don't want to push people to my coaching so they can ask, how do I build discipline, for example. I can't even begin to explain how much information there is about that. And it's not like it's such a deep concept that people can talk about it so much. It's that the same things have been regurgitated over and over again, to where spending money on something like building discipline or something very surface level is completely not worth money. And there's also a fine line between watching the odd video and being completely all out consuming content way more than you need to. For example, I truly believe that non-stimulating conversation type video, even every day, would be fine, because like I just said, it's not overly stimulating to the point where you'd want more excitement. It's just bare bones information, and bare bones information with the human element involved, which would make the video more worthwhile, because human connection is very important, and I do not need to go in depth into that, because I'm sure everybody understands that to be true. And to get back to Edward Bernays, what he did can be called marketing, but in the end what it boiled down to was him propagating something for the financial benefit of others. He famously during some parade in the US, he had a group of women who marched, who were walking along in the parade, smoking cigarettes during a time when women smoking was severely frowned upon. And the marketing angle was that cigarettes were torches of freedom for women. And women liked that idea so much that they started smoking. And of course, the cigarette companies benefited financially to incredible amounts. And also the maybe this is the top two, and the other thing that Edward Bernays did was that he propagated that you need a big breakfast. Well, he propagated that it is ideal to have a big breakfast during a time when small breakfasts were eaten by everybody. And he did that for the benefit of the companies who made the bacon and who supplied the bacon. This was for the benefit of the companies who supplied the bacon and the sausages, who of course benefited financially massively. And in a way to the detriment of the people, because knowing now that breakfast isn't as important as it was made to seem, and perhaps even being detrimental to have it in the first place, and it would be much more beneficial to fast or have something very, very small. I know that to be certainly true for myself. I feel much better when I don't eat breakfast. And the last point that I want to make is that to be a good marketer, you need to market yourself or the product that you're trying to sell as being absolutely perfect and better than everything else. And with products, I guess you could make the argument that some products are way better than others and can be made to seem perfect. But if people are trying to sell a course or trying to sell some subscription based service, they need to act like they're perfect and like they know everything, which is utterly disingenuous, because no human is perfect. And it again takes away the human element it would take away the human element of their videos. And it is of course a complete and utter lie, because if you ever talk to someone or hear someone talk like they are absolutely perfect and they can do no wrong, you don't like that person because you know they're lying, and you know that they have faults like everybody else. But the faults that make up everyone is what makes people human. I think I'm saying this, I'm repeating this, but there's a phrase, human error, for a purpose. Humans make errors even with the most simplest things. There's also this guy on YouTube called Dry Creek Wrangler. I'm pretty sure he's a cowboy. He's an old guy And to me, he would seem like a grandfather sort of figure when I watch his videos. And someone like him, I do look up to, because he just speaks straight wisdom, and the videos that he makes feel like conversations with him. And something like that is, I think it's all you could really ask for, especially for someone who perhaps doesn't have a lot of social interactions in person. Someone like that would be amazing to watch every so often, or even often, because it feels like a genuine, because not only would it feel like at least somewhat like a genuine connection, but also for the fact that he's not trying to benefit off your attention. I think he does have some sort of, what is it? Some sort of thing where you can go in person and work with horses, or like ride the horses or something. But I've heard him talk about it because he was talking about the people that enjoyed it and not trying to sell it. And I'm saying that perhaps not knowing enough. Maybe he does push it a lot, but from what I've seen of him, he doesn't push it, and I respect that highly. So in a platform like YouTube, where everybody's trying to have better production value and trying to be more professional and trying to be more perfect, I genuinely think it's best to instead go the opposite way and just try to be as genuine as possible, because that's what people actually connect to, and would mean that people are watching your videos for you and not for the stimulation of the videos you make. I could use an example of Mr. Beast again. But by this point I've watched quite a few of his videos actually, and the pull and the enjoyment of his videos isn't because he's in them and he's super entertaining. It's the whole concept and idea and the stimulation of it. Nobody cares if he's in it or not. There could be an AI voiceover over the parts where he explains, and nobody would care. And so being in a position like him would be disheartening, because you would know that people watch your videos for what you do and not for yourself. And I think the only comeback anyone could give in that situation would be cope. Because people want to pay, of course anybody and everybody wants to feel appreciated for what they do. But someone like him, unfortunately, it genuinely seems like they do not care about him at all.